webinar. We'll just go into a few more minutes for those who may be arriving a little late, and then we'll begin. Thanks. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on this webinar using the web-based self-assessment tool and technical assistance centers to improve police and community responses to people with behavioral health needs. This webinar, we will walk you through the benefits of each resource, how they can be assessed, and the ways the community can use them to request further support. Presentation outline. So first, we're going to start with some introduction. We would kind of go through a really quick overview of the PMAC framework, so you can see how we were able to, how the assessment tool and the TEA centers were actually developed. And then at the end, we're going to have some questions and answers. If you have any questions, there's on the bottom right hand, you will see a little Q&A box. Please type them in, and at the end, we'll be building the questions. The presenters, hi, my name is Laura Savias, and I'm a policy analyst here with the law enforcement team. Also one of my colleagues, Alex Blanford. She's a program director in our behavioral health team. The Council of State Government Justice Center, who are we? We are a national nonpartisan organization that combines the power of a membership or association presenting state officials in all three branches of government, with policy and research expertise to develop strategies that increase public safety and strengthen communities. How we work. What exactly do? We bring people together. We drive the criminal justice field forward with original research. We build momentum for policy change, and we provide expert assistance. Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance, otherwise known as DJA. DJA provides leadership and assistance to local criminal justice programs that improve and reinforce the nation's criminal justice system. DJA's goals are to reduce and prevent crime, violence, and drug abuse, and to improve the way in which the criminal justice system functions. In order to achieve such goals, DJA programs illustrate the coordination and cooperation of local, state, and federal governments. BJA works closely with programs that bolster law enforcement operations, expand drug courts, and provide benefits to safety officers. Okay, so now let's get started. Overview of the PMAC framework. We developed the PMAC framework a couple of years now. It's published. On the bottom, you'll be able to see the link if you want to be able to print it out and use that. It is also on the experience of most advanced PMACs in the nation. It articulates core components of a comprehensive and robust PMAC that produces improvements in community-wide outcomes. It shifts the focus away from standalone training or small-scale programs towards agency-wide collaboration responses and metric-driven performance management. Once again, if anyone is interested in looking over this, you could be able to log in or email one of us, and we'd be able to share that with you. The self-assessment tool. Self-assessment tool. The self-assessment tool helps law enforcement agencies and their behavioral health partners assess their current progress towards implementing high-quality partnership-based interventions. The tool is designed to provide tailored responses based on your assessed level of implementation, which can help improve response calls for service for people with behavioral health disorders. It is derived from the principles of the framework. So, first question, is our leadership committed? Do we have clear policies and procedures to respond to people who have mental health needs? Do we provide staff with quality mental health and civilization training? Does the community have a full array of mental health services and support for people who have mental health needs? Do we collect and analyze data to measure our progress? And do we have a full-life process for reviewing and improving performance? So the goals of the self-assessment tool is a tool for jurisdictions seeking to improve outcomes for people who are experiencing mental health crisis and who come in contact with law enforcement. This tool, it allows users to track progress, it guides the users to relevant resources, it notifies users of continual progress, and you are able to print and view online for future planning purposes, all the resources that we provide. The self-assessment tool. The tool walks the users through a series of questions to assess your current response efforts. We recommend it's best completed by a law enforcement personnel or behavioral health partner or PMAC coordinator with first-hand knowledge about the intervention of PMAC model. A lot of these questions are tailored towards law enforcement or behavioral health or coordinator. So someone who doesn't really have knowledge on your response program might not be able to answer the questions. The response will generate a unique action plan that directs the user the resources designed to strengthen the user's initiative. So based on your response, we'll be able to generate some resources and action plans to help you get to your overall goals. This tool is also designed to assist jurisdictions who may be at varying stages of implementation, from communities in the startup stage, so with those that are advanced state-based interventions. So it doesn't matter what stage you are in the process, you could be in the planning, in the beginning startup stage, or your program has been around for a while and you just want to know, just be guided to resources or connections. This tool is designed for agencies that have already started something in place based on the questions. If you have yet to start a response program, you can still complete the tool so you can see some of the questions that we asked. You may not be able to get all that you need from it. First step, creating an account, right? Users will need to create an account and select a law enforcement agency representative. The tool is limited to one account per agency. For our data purposes, we have limited this tool, so for one agency, one account. So LAPD, Boston, Screven County, Georgia, Kansas, your specific law enforcement agency, you'd only be able to have one account. We are able to find about 18,000 law enforcement agencies, and so it should be listed. However, if for whatever reason we missed your agency or you can't find it, or someone in the past has created an account for your agency that's no longer around, just email my supervisor, Terry Lynn, or myself, Laura Fabius. we provide our emails at the end of this webinar, and we'll be able to give you access to that account. Once you create an account, you'll be able to log in anytime to update your answers. This is meant to be a living tool, so periodically we will be updating the resources and updating the information. And also on your end, you'll be able to update your answers based on the questions. Maybe you guys have done some progress, and so anytime you guys will be able to log in after you create an account. Step 2, completing the tool. There are 6 questions that prompt the users to consider whether your PMAC has been implemented for each question. Each category within these questions, you must select one of the 3 choices: not yet implemented, partially implemented, or fully implemented. And those 6 questions are based on the framework's 6 questions. So, sample questions. One or more champions within your law enforcement agency has committed to ensuring success of the PMAC. This may be one individual, a police chief, or include other dedicated law enforcement staff who have leadership roles in decision-making and budget authority, right? So you would be able to select, based on that simple question, fully implemented, partially implemented, or not implemented. If you select partially implemented, which is the yellow circle, we will be prompted to write a brief explanation. This will help us on our end track answers and possibly update the tool with relevant resources. Like I said, this tool is meant to be a living tool, so hopefully at the end of the first year or quarter, if we see that enough agencies have listed, other explanations, then we would be able to update some of our questions and our possibly answers, and also provide better resources. Building a custom set of resources. As the user progresses through the tool, you will be able to build a custom set of resources. Users will be able to export and share resources for your reference. So as you complete the questions in the tool, based on your answers, we'll provide you with a list of resources to help you get to where you want to achieve. You'll be able to individually click which resources you want to share or you want to look at. You can view or share your resources at any time in the tool. So explanation, so this is the recognition. So you'd be able to select these other resources for that specific category in that question. You could select them and then be able to view or share your resources. This is one of my favorite sections in the tool, the My Resource page. Kind of like a shopping cart. After you go shopping, you're able to put things in the cart, and then later on, you want to look at what you selected. This is what this basically is. It's a My Resource shopping cart. You'll be able to look at all the resources you selected during that section when you're completing the tool, and then go back and individually print them out, share them, convert them to PDF, and export them. The tool takes about 20 minutes to complete. When you complete the tool, you will be able to view your progress in the progress report section of the tool. In this section, on this page, you'll be able to view all the resources, share your progress report in a shareable link, and also request free support. So we have broken down the tool based on all the questions that we have selected. You'd be able to see, okay, where you are. There's a big chunk that maybe you're partially implemented that you want to work on, maybe not implemented for some, fully implemented for others. And you are able to skip questions. So if you have a data-related question that maybe you don't know or you want to come back to, you'd be able to skip that question altogether. You can see it'd be a little gray area that's not answered. At any time you should be able to go and update your results. So that with the access, with the login, you'd be able to update anytime and update those answers, view, print more resources, or get access to more resources. And also request free support, which would lead us to the next part, which is the TA Center. If you have any questions related to the tool, please, at the end, we're going to have a questions and answer section, and hopefully we'll be able to answer those questions. I will now pass it on to my colleague, Alex Blanford, who will be able to go into detail about the new TA Centers. Alex?
Thanks, Laura, and good afternoon, everyone. Eunice, if you please take me to the next slide. Or whoever has control of the slides, not me. Wonderful. Okay. So very pleased to be with you today. I am part of the team that has been working on the launch of 2 new national centers that are supported by the U.S. Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice Assistance, and that is very germane to the work and the PMHC focus in particular that I've been speaking about. So I'm going to just share some information about 2 new centers that are related but slightly different in structure, or in focus, I should say. So the first is, as the name implies, very focused on building and strengthening partnerships between mental health and justice, but also other partners that, of course, are critical to improving outcomes for a population of people that is really the focus of the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program, and that is to say people who have mental illnesses and co-occurring substance disorders who are cycling in and out of criminal justice systems, and of course, as we all know, I'm sure on this call, also have a range of other social service and health needs. So the purpose of this center is to provide free assistance and resources to jurisdictions that are looking to really help improve their collaborative responses to this population. And you can, I'll give you a bit more detail in a moment, but you can request on-demand support from the center through an online form and get a response from our team within 3 business days. And we can provide support at varying intensities depending on your needs and what your specific request is. And just to give you a flavor of some of the things that you can expect to receive through this Technical Assistance Center is connections to other peers, to other communities in the field, other constituents, a range of different connections that we can facilitate across the country, including to some of our sites that have received JMHCP funding in the past, and innovator sites through our Stepping Up Network initiative, and learning sites as well through our Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program. And we also work with a range of different partners who can provide subject matter expertise. So if we don't have the immediate answer in-house, we will do our absolute best to connect you with who does, and that's part of our goal. And then providing training as needed, links to different resources so that communities don't have to reinvent the wheel, and just a range of other resources. You can move to the next slide, Eunice. I want to put a finer point on the focus of the center. So this center is mostly geared towards non-law enforcement, and that may seem a bit strange. I'll explain why in a moment. Is because we have another center that I'm about to speak about, I'll give you more information on, that is geared specifically to facilitating partnerships between law enforcement and behavioral health agencies and other social service agencies. But this particular center, the Justice and Mental Health Partnership Center, is intended to be a bit more wide-ranging, so helping to develop those strategies that can keep people out of the system in the first place. So thinking way upstream to reducing the likelihood that someone is arrested, that someone is incarcerated, and then of course, reducing the amount of time that they're in the system and the likelihood that they would return. So that is it's a broader focus, but if you are working on collaborative work and looking to, again, reduce the amount of time that people try to avoid system contact altogether, reduce the amount of time that they're in the system, and then avoid the likelihood that they return, you can come to the center, and there's a more specific information on the site about the types of TA that we also provide within that focus. If you could move to the next slide, Eunice. So now we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive on the second center, which, again, as I mentioned, is focused very specifically on law enforcement and mental health, and really thinking about ways that communities are developing those partnerships and strengthening their responses to meet their public safety and public health goals. So very similar to the other center, you'll notice they look and feel similar, while this center does have that specific law enforcement focus. But provides the same level of on-demand support. We can provide, again, assistance at different levels. And we also have a range of law enforcement specific partners and others, including IACP and PERF and others that we're working with through this center that can also help. If we don't know the answer, we will do our very best to connect you and point you in the right direction. Next slide, please, for another finer point on the focus of this center, in case you haven't heard me say already. This center is very geared towards those law enforcement partnerships. So really all the work that undergirds what Laura's speaking about, the PMHC, those police and mental health collaborations or law enforcement collaborations, this center is a place where we can provide additional support, and it could even, help you walk through the tool itself, potentially, if you need some more targeted assistance with how to use it, or you're looking for some other specific resources, you can submit a request to us through this center. Next slide, please. I think we've gone over this. This is just giving some examples of requests. So the centers have been live, actually not very long, since the beginning of this year. And so far, we've been receiving a range of different requests to give you a sense of what we have received, ranging from on the law enforcement mental health side, looking for examples of policies and protocols, asking us for specific information about different outreach models, looking for more targeted guidance on how other communities are sharing and using data, things of that nature. And with the Justice and Mental Health Partnerships, again, more broad in scope. So we've received requests from courts, from jail collaborations, from very early intervention crisis responses through reentry, and provided a lot of different types of resources even since our launch date in January in service of those different requests. Next slide. So how can you get access to this support? And how can you request it? So this is a bit distorted, I'm afraid, but if you visit our web pages, which I'm going to ask Eunice to potentially post in our chat, there is one link for the Center for Justice and Mental Health Partnerships and another for the Law Enforcement Mental Health Collaboration Support Center. They look very similar, but you would just request free support through whichever center you think is most aligned with the support that you're looking for. And then we will get back to you. There's a series of questions. It's about a 5-minute time frame potentially to complete your request, as long as you know or have a sense of what you're looking for. Oh, here we go. Here's actually a little screenshot of what the form entails. So you can, give us some contact information so we know who's requesting support from us. And then we include some sample topics, and you can select which ones are most relevant to you, and then describe as much as you can for us about the assistance that you're requesting, and for example, how have you determined the need for this, or what resources you already have in place? What are you looking for? As much detail as you can give always helps us, and then we'll follow up and do some consultation with you and determine how best to direct you to the support that you're seeking. I think, and with that, so I think we're doing questions and answers at the end. So before we get to that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk more about some other resources that are coming down the pike that will also build upon the self-assessment that we shared with you today. So Laura, I'm going to turn it to you.
Thank you, Alex. So another companion tool, it's not ready yet, but it is coming soon, called the Project Coordinator's Handbook. It is a guide to help project coordinators through the process of planning, implementing a police mental health collaboration, PMHC. It will include activities and exercises for project coordinators to help community leaders achieve the goals and objectives of their PMHC model. So it's coming soon. It's in the works. So hopefully by the end of this year, we would be able to have that available to the mass. Questions and answers. We do have a few questions that I just want to make sure we have time. I want to make sure we give enough time for everyone to be able to ask questions. So the first question it's for me, I'll answer it. Has there been a change in who can fill it out? Previously, I was not able to fill it out because I'm not employed by a law enforcement agency. So that question, in the beginning, we did kind of want to limit to a law enforcement agency employed by law enforcement personnel, a behavioral health personnel, or PMAC coordinator, but we have opened it up. We are asking that you email myself or Terry, and we'll be able to gain you access. We would want to know what law enforcement agency you are partnering with or thinking about partnering in your jurisdiction, just so because a lot of our resources, we try to make it specific. We don't want to give you resources for Kansas if you live in Florida, because laws, rules and everything is different. So at least if we kind of know what agency is in your jurisdiction, we could help sort of provide you with resources that best fits your specific jurisdiction. So I think that's why in mind we kind of wanted to limit to have a specific target, but we have basically opened it up. We're just asking that you email us for us to be able to gain you access if you're not employed or partnering with a specific law enforcement agency. Same kind of question, why can't collaborators that are not part of law enforcement agency take advantage of this great resource? We have opened it up so everyone will be able to have access to this great resource. So at the end of it, you're gonna have my email, Terry's email, and also Alex's TA Center. So if you have any problems logging in or creating an account, send me an email and we would and I'll do my best to get you access in a day or so. Next question, are these new TA centers available only to law enforcement or to mental health agencies working in collaboration with law enforcement agencies? Alex, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, so love this question. The answer is open to very open. We're trying to keep our focus as flexible as possible. So we've had requests come directly from law enforcement agencies or from mental health agencies who are looking to either, strengthen an existing collaboration or in some cases, they're just looking potentially for where to get started, or they're interested if, maybe we have a sense of through our Justice Mental Health Collaboration Program work or through the Stepping Up initiative, of which we are one of the 3 national partners, we may have a sense of what connections could be helpful or how to help make some connections in your community if you're looking for sort of a sense of what might be going on. Or again, you're looking to, do something very specific in building a partnership or to take that partnership to the next level. So it's a very open, source of support, and we can also help direct if for some reason we're, it's not within our focus or we're not the best fit. Again, we really try to do our best, or we'll do our best to connect you either with a partner organization or with another organization in the field or another technical assistance provider through the Department of Justice or other agencies that might also be able to help you. So it just provides a front door. If you're not sure and the form, if you're not quite sure, you can still send us a request and we can sort of help you figure out what would be most helpful depending on where you are. So hopefully that helps answer. And also I just want to put a finer point. It's not just local, it's not just state. We welcome different types of jurisdictions. We get requests across systems, across agencies. I mean, as everyone here on the phone knows, it's very difficult. No one really owns this problem, and we talk a lot about collaboration and why that's so critical. And these centers are sort of indicative of that people can come into this work in different ways. And so the technical assistance centers are intended to try and meet you where you are in that process.
Great. Thank you. Would you please, if you have any questions, to type it on the bottom of the screen. We want to make sure that we answer as many questions as we can. We'll give everybody just a few more minutes to kind of, if you have any more questions.
It looks like a question came through in the chat about funding. for law enforcement co-responder programs. I think, Laura, we should certainly send out some additional resources on this. We can point in the immediate term to the Justice Mental Health Collaboration Program, but there also may be, so to answer the question, our organization may not necessarily directly have funds to the TA centers other than to provide technical assistance, but we can certainly help direct you to potential funding sources that we do know about federally and depending on your state or locality as well. But off the top of my head, in response to your question, Dawn, certainly we can send you more information on some of the Bureau of Justice Assistance supports, and also through SAMHSA as well. There's going to be a lot of exciting work around crisis and a lot of opportunities to support partnerships with criminal justice, including certified community behavioral health clinics and others. So we can follow up potentially after this webinar with some more resources, or if you'd like to schedule a consultation with us through the TA Center, we can have a more robust discussion. Just let us know what would be helpful.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. And although we may not have direct funding to start programs or fund programs, we do have a learning sites program, which is 10 law enforcement agencies throughout the country that BJA and our organization has kind of raised as some example agencies. We're expanding that. We're in the process of expanding it to possibly 15. And so you would be able, with funding, for us to be able to send you to those locations for site visits specific to your program and their program, as long as it lines up through the TA Center. So that's basically one of the only things funding. If an agency through the TA Center want to request to go to, LAPD is always popular, especially in the summer. But let's say LAPD or Houston or Madison County, Wisconsin, because you guys have read about the program and you want to possibly do a site visit, link up, we'd be able to help you set up travel to that location through our Learning Sites program. And you are able to request Learning Site technical assistance through the law enforcement related TA Center. So I just want to put it out there.
Okay, great.
Any more questions before we end this? I just wanted to give everyone enough time to ask you questions. May we request a tour site? So that's one question that came out. May we request a tour site? So one of our learning sites, you can request to do a learning site visit. So specific to your program or your needs or your goals and their specific program, then you would be able to, we'll be able to fund you to go to that location, depending on how you guys match up. So yeah, through the TA Center, you also would be able to be connected to that specific learning site. I hope that answered the question. Yeah, so anyone who is looking for information on funding or anything that we discussed with TA Center or a self-assessment tool, please send, we could reach out to myself or to Terry or to Alex. We're gonna provide our email the next slide. And preferably myself, I know Alex and Terry have you know, a lot. I think I'm the one kind of fielding this. So preferably send me an email and I will make sure I get you all the information and the resources that you guys are needing. If you come up with questions after this presentation, please reach out to me and I will make sure to get you an answer, provide you with the resources necessary. So anybody looking for funding or requesting a learning site or anything, information about our Learning Sites program, just send me an email directly and I'll make sure to give you guys that information. Just one more minute for questions before we move on. So this is our contact information. I'm going to leave this up for a while. Like I said, my name is Laura Fabius. I'm part of the law enforcement team. I preferably just, email me with any questions, especially in regarding to this presentation and or possibly funding, and we'll try to make sure that we get you guys connected. Terry Lynn, that's my supervisor. Also his email, in case anyone wanted to send him an email, say hello. And I'm also Alex Lynn for his email. we lead
Great.
up for
Thanks,
a while.
Laura. And I just want to reiterate the slides in the recording are going to be up on the website, and the links to all of the materials and the technical assistance centers as well are in the chat. So you can reference those directly.
And if you have any questions, any problems logging into the tool or any of the TA centers, please reach out to us and we'll make sure to make sure you guys have access. I'll leave it up just for another minute so people could just copy this down. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to join in our presentation. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Any comments, feedback, anything is welcome. Anything and everything is welcome here. Hope you guys learned a lot. Hope we were able to answer some of your questions. And hopefully we were able to show you how to use the tools in the TA Center and how it could be used to improve your improve your response, your PMAC, in your jurisdiction. Thank you. I guess I'll give you guys back an hour of your day. I know we had it set out, but I think we're all happy to have an hour back. So thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Please feel free to reach out again with any questions, comments. Bye.